The Toy Story Saga has been with me for the last 24 years, with the first movie releasing when I was only 4 years old. This is a franchise which I have lived and learned with for almost my entire life, and one that I love dearly. In fact, Toy Story is quite easily my favourite franchise of all time, and one of cinema's most special, with movies and extended media that has kept an almost unprecedented level of consistent quality. With the release of Toy Story 4, the Toy Story Saga expands itself once again. And to celebrate its arrival, I'll be ranking all 10 canon installments, including the 4 movies, 2 television specials, and multiple theatrical shorts, in order of my least to most favourite. As a side note, I won't be including the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command movie or series, as they don't take place in the main timeline due to their in-universe nature. Also keep in mind that I adore these movies so much that every single one of them is a 5-star effort to me, and most of the extended media is up to the same standard. Just because I play something lower than others doesn't mean I love it any less or don't love it at all. Some things just naturally have to come lower on the scale, so take it easy down in the comments. At that, this is my ranking of the entire Toy Story Saga. Kicking us off at number 10, Toy Story Toons Partysaurus Rex. This one is quite easily the lowest point of the Toy Story franchise. Again, I adore just about everything that's come from these adventures, so that's not to say that this one still isn't enjoyable, but for me anyway, it's really only good at best. This is the only entry in the franchise not to focus on Woody, Buzz, or Jessie, instead focusing on Rex. While Rex is a favourite of mine, he doesn't really hold his own when put front and centre, even in an only 6-minute short. The exploration of what bath time is like for toys leads to some pretty entertaining gags, but at that, a lot of them feel the same and get repetitive and bland pretty quickly. It's a one-note ballad that doesn't feel like it leads itself to anything incredibly special. I think throwing in a little extra Buzz and Woody could have done wonders, because I didn't really find myself caring about much in this. 9. Toy Story That Time Forgot. Like Partysaurus Rex, this Toy Story special doesn't really work all that well for me. It focuses on our characters coming into contact with an entire playset of dinosaur figures that Bonnie's friend got for Christmas, and they immediately find themselves in all kinds of trouble. While the premise is quite fun, it becomes incredibly tedious quite quickly, and is probably something that might have worked better as a shorter Toy Story tune. There's some entertaining moments, but probably some of the weaker gag work in any of the franchise's entries. What this short does do well is put good focus on both original and newer characters, giving us a small existential spotlight into Trixie's world. This was produced as a Christmas special, but doesn't really feel like one to me. I really think Pixar could have churned out something a little more meaningful, heartwarming, special, and, well, Christmassy for such an installment. 8. Toy Story Treats. These were a series of 37 short commercial bumpers produced for Disney's ABC Saturday morning cartoon block in 1996 to coincide with the release of Toy Story on VHS. They range from 5 to 30 seconds each, around 15 minutes collectively, and can easily be found on the Toy Story Blu-ray or on YouTube. They don't really add anything to the grander narrative, but instead offer small windows into the timeline, spanning before, during, and just after the original movie, and are a welcome journey back into its world. Though these are the only pieces of official canon not to feature the voice work of Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, they do contain some incredibly clever gag moments which are just as funny and entertaining as any from the movies. These are of course of varying quality, some are better than others, but I find them to be a really worthy installment and worth checking out. 7. Toy Story Toons Small Fry. This is an unabashedly fun Toy Story short that explores the world of fast food chain kids' meal toys and shows not only a miniature Buzz Lightyear trying to pass himself off as the real deal, while the real Buzz tries to escape the fast food joint after being left behind by Bonnie. Thematically, it does trace some of the same ground as Toy Story 2, but it does it in newer and enjoyable ways. The mini Buzz is an absolute scream, leading to some great moments with the original toys. Woody's reaction when they first come into contact, for example, is priceless. It's like, here we go again. Surprisingly, this short packs in a whole lot of story, themes, and laughs in such a short amount of time, and is a very enjoyable and somewhat ingenious entry. 6. Toy Story Toons Hawaiian Vacation. Now, this is how you do a Toy Story short. As the first Toy Story Toon release, Pixar pulled all the stops on this one. While the short mainly focuses on Barbie and Ken, who are highly entertaining and I think could easily carry a whole series of shorts, the rest of the characters are all involved just as equally. This one is all about exploring what the toys get up to when their owners go on vacation, and while it doesn't offer a lot substantially story-wise, it does feature some really crafty humor, top-notch gag material, and surprisingly a whole lot of heart and soul, making it easily one of the best pieces of extended Toy Story canon. 5. Toy Story of Terror. Easily the best piece of extended Toy Story canon, Toy Story of Terror follows the toys on a road trip with Bonnie and her mother, where Mr. Potato Head goes missing at a roadside motel, leading to yet another rescue mission from the other toys. Along the way, we meet some great new toys, including Combat Carl, fantastically voiced by Carl Weathers, and are treated to some great humor, fun moments, and a really wonderful adventure that holds up with any of the main features. At only 20 minutes, this short surprisingly does a lot for the franchise, and for the first time since Toy Story 2, really delves into Jessie's character, exploring her PTSD in some really unexpected yet welcome ways. In fact, this short really puts Jessie in the spotlight in ways that I wish the films had occasionally. Again, this is a really great short, and out of every piece of extended canon, it's the one that is the most worth tracking down. 4. Toy Story 3. An absolute roller coaster of emotions. Toy Story 3 is as equally hilarious and heartwarming as it is tear-inducing and heart-wrenching. The movie takes our characters on their biggest adventure and offers up some of the most ambitious and exhilarating moments in the entire series. It not only treats our original characters with complete and utter respect, but beautifully introduces new ones too. Some of the film's greatest moments come by way of Barbie and Ken, who are absolute scene stealers. On release, Toy Story 3 felt like somewhat of a rite of passage for me, as I had grown up with the original movies since childhood. The movie acted as a beautiful swan song for the original trilogy and closed out Andy's 3-movie arc. In turn, it worked as almost the closing of a personal life arc for those who grew with the trilogy too. It has a beautiful heart and soul that many live action movies struggle to capture, and sticks with you for a long time afterwards. It really is a perfect movie, and it holds up superbly. 3. Toy Story 4. If Toy Story 3 told us that it's okay to move on, Toy Story 4 teaches us how to move on and find closure. Something we thought we had from Toy Story 3, but in retrospect, never really did. Toy Story 4 feels like a coda or epilogue to the original trilogy that expands upon ideas and explores themes that were never truly fleshed out before. It takes loose ends and ties them up satisfactorily, and diverges into the ramifications of where the third left off, touching on the last tangle of emotions that seem brushed over in its finale. Naturally, it takes on a reduced approach, featuring the same grand adventure as the previous 3, but on a smaller, more emotional scale, adding up to the most existential and intimate piece in the franchise. While this is smaller scale, it still feels like Toy Story, with great action, brilliant new characters, and some incredible comedy and gag pieces that live up to and sometimes even outshine anything from the original 3. I already love this one immensely, and it is without a doubt an instant classic. 2. Toy Story 2. This one hits all the right beats of a great sequel. It brings back all our beloved characters and furthers their stories and narratives, upping the stakes of the original and doubling the emotion and heart. It also introduces us to new characters like Jessie and Bullseye, who would go on to be just as iconic and as lovable as those from the first. With its focus on truly impeccable storytelling, Toy Story 2 did things that no animated movie had ever done before, and at that, it did things that most film sequels struggle to do. The Jessie subplot is one of the most incredibly special and emotional stories in animation history, and Woody's dilemma throughout the film is likewise gripping and astounding. At this early stage, Pixar showed just how special they were, daring to go to intimate places animation had rarely gone before. Instead of giving us a rehash of the first, Pixar took the time and effort to meticulously craft this sequel, which runs in new directions and takes our characters to unpredictable places, on a journey which is, at times, even more enjoyable, gripping, exciting, funny, and lovable than that of the first. It's a rare sequel as good, if not better, than the original. And coming in at number 1, Toy Story. I spent my young childhood watching Toy Story continuously and also playing with the screen-accurate dolls and action figures. Buzz and Woody weren't just characters to me, they were best friends who jumped from the screen and into my life. Suffice to say, this one has an incredibly special place in my heart. There's a lot of nostalgia tangled up in it, but rewatching it recently, it's abundantly clear just how incredibly well it holds up. Yes, the animation is fairly dated, almost 25 years on, but the story remains as incredibly relevant, touching and engaging as it did on first release. The gags and comedy are just as hilarious, maybe even more so as an adult, and the story is just as gripping and enjoyable. Toy Story has an amazing heart and honesty, oozing love and tenderness with some of the greatest screen characters of all time. It's the rare animated film that has the ability to transcend unreality and allow the suspension of disbelief on such a grand scale, doing things that some of the best live action movies cannot. And to think that one can form such a strong connection with a bunch of toys. Toy Story is not only my favorite animated movie of all time, but it's one of my favorite movies, full stop. And at that, it's over to you guys. What is your own personal ranking of the Toy Story saga? Or if you haven't explored it all just yet, how do you rank the movies against each other? Fire away in the comments below, but once again, take it easy on myself and other viewers. We all have different thoughts and rankings, and that's the true beauty of it all. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos and you'd like to see more like it in the future, then please don't forget to hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen, as well as that like button down below for that little extra support. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.